Hello, my name is Evan Brown, and today I'll be teaching you in this tutorial about how to prepare your buildings for 3D printing on the Makerbot. The first thing you should do to your model is delete the terrain that you've imported from Google Earth. To do this, you should right-click and then press Unlock. That will turn the terrain from red to blue. Then you can just use the Delete button. Next, use the Dimensions tool, located on a large tool set, to add dimensions to your model. This will give you a real-time measurement of your model and will be helpful in the scaling process to make sure that your model will actually fit on the build plate and be able to be printed. Next, use the Scale tool found by the shortcut S to scale down your model to a smaller size. While you're scaling, look at the dimensions of your model to approximate how big it will actually print. Once you find the appropriate size for your model and you're happy with it, you should move it back to the origin. As you can see, it's been moved off into space somewhere. Now, for class, you may be using a defined scale, or you may just go with what looks good and what you think will print in a reasonable manner. So just grab one corner of your building and then zoom out and move it back to the origin. So now zoom into your building and take a look at it. We're going to examine these posts. These posts are very small. They're not going to print very well on the printer due to their small size and the fact that they're not even attached to the building. So we could either get around this by just deleting them, or what we could do is we could try and make it so that they're there, but they are attached to the building. So in this case, my posts are components, and I'm just going to move it so that it's slightly in towards the building. This will give the appearance of posts once the building is printed, but they won't be separate from the building, so it will be a lot more stable. Now that we've fixed all 4 posts, we're going to look around the rest of the building to see if there's any other problems that might arise. The first thing I see is that there's a tent that comes out from this building. Now, if we measure the posts that are holding up this tent, they are extremely thin. Those won't even begin to print on the printer. The roof is also very thin. You could spend time editing this tent to make it thicker and whatnot, but that wouldn't look very good on the building, and this structure isn't key to the appearance of the building, so you can just delete it. Next, you should consider overhangs. If overhangs are too large, they won't print because the printer will be trying to print something in midair if there's no supports for it. Now this is a very thin overhang, so it will probably print very well. So do this all around your building. You may find that you might have to either shrink some overhangs or possibly delete them entirely, although that's unlikely. So here we're going to measure another overhang. This one is also very small, so it will likely print okay. This building is similar to most buildings that you will encounter in your modeling career. However, there are some buildings that are irregularly shaped and have more complex structures that will be more difficult to prepare for printing. Here we have a set of gas pumps. This model will not print as is because the roof will try to be printed in midair by the printer. The way to get around this is to actually print the model in 2 separate pieces and then glue them together later. So what you should do is select the roof and move it off to the side. Now it's important if you're printing a model in more than one piece that each of the individual pieces are on the same plane. So select the bottom corner of the roof and match it so it's on the same level as the bottom corner of the base plate. The roof of this is also recessed slightly, so we should push-pull that down so it's on the same plane. This model is now ready for printing. Before you print your model, you have to convert the SketchUp file of your model to an STL file. This will allow you to import it into the Makerware software, which will allow you to print your model using the Makerbot. So now I'm going to go back and use the original building. You should just take another look around your building to make sure that everything is okay and that you haven't missed something. To convert your SketchUp file to an STL file, you're going to use the Export STL plugin for SketchUp. If you don't have this, I suggest downloading it. First, select your entire building. Then click File, Export STL. This will pop up a window that will allow you to save your STL file in a specific place on your computer. Now click Create and Save. A second window will then pop up once you click Save. Just click OK to that too. Now open the Makerware software and then click Add. This will pop up a window that will allow you to select the STL file that you just saved from SketchUp. When you find your file, click Open. And then click Yes that you want to put it on the platform. Select the object that you've just put in, and then use the Turn tool to turn your building so that it will fit onto the build plate. Now take a look around your building. Any surfaces that are dark gray or black will not print. As you can see here on this building, the posts that we worked on earlier are black. That means they won't print. This is not because they're too small. It's because their faces in SketchUp are not facing the correct direction. In SketchUp, faces are either white or purple. Once you've photo textured, you can no longer see this, so you'll just have to experiment. We're going to have to go back into SketchUp to fix this. In SketchUp, find the problem area. In this case, it was our posts. Then right-click and click Reverse Faces. Then right-click again and click Orient Faces. The Orient Faces command will orient all adjacent faces in the same direction as the one you just reversed. Since these are components, it has fixed all 4 in 1. Now, reselect your model and click File, Export STL again, and resave your file. This will now be the updated file, which will hopefully be free of problems. Once you've exported your file, go back to Makerware and delete your old building off of the build plate. Then click Add to add your updated building to the Makerware software. Once again, you should select your building, go to Turn, and then rotate your building around the Z-axis until it fits on the build plate. Once you've done this, you should re-inspect your building to make sure that all of the areas of black or gray are gone. Some areas will appear darker than others, but once you rotate around, they will become white. This is just due to the shadowing in the Makerware software. Now you're ready to print. Connect the Makerbot to your computer through the USB port. You will then see a window pop up and just say Cancel. It will now give you a message that it's been connected to the printer. To make the model, just click Make. Then you should check the box that says Medium. You don't need any advanced settings at this time. Then just click Make It. You'll see that the computer program goes through slicing, and that's just making the model into thin layers so it can talk to the printer. This may take a while depending on the quality that you choose or the size of your building. It will then also verify that everything is okay with your building. It will not tell you whether you have black surfaces or though. This also may take a while. Once this is complete, your model will begin to print. The printer will go over your model's surfaces in thin layers, slowly building it up. This may take anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours, depending on the size and complexity of your model. Rather than connecting the printer to a USB port, you can also load your .stl or .thing file onto an SD card, and then put that into the printer, and then choose Print from SD. This will also give you the same result. After your model is finished printing, you should take it off the build plate. This might be somewhat difficult, and it tends to stick, so you might have to work at it for a while. Thank you for listening, and happy printing!